What's up, guys? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Today, I'm Josh Evanoff. He's Nicola Ortega. A lot to talk about today, boys. Obviously, Povetkin, Whyte 2, UFC 260. There was a little press conference that went down today. I'm not sure if you heard about it. But before we get into all of that and more, I want to talk to you guys about Manscaped. Support for the Courtside Soundoff podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for all of our listeners here today, and that is 20% off plus free shipping with the code Courtside20 at manscaped.com. I was pretty notable last week about sharing my story of nearly dying on the podcast. I mean, I've never opened up with the people about how shitty other razors are. However, Manscaped has got you covered below the belt and also upstairs. And once again, guys, just to go ahead and remind you, so you don't miss out on my amazing deal, you got 20% off and free shipping with the code Courtside20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped and use code Courtside20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Last Saturday night, we had UFC Vegas 22. Obviously, the big story of the fight, big story of the night, so to speak, Kevin Holland stepping up to face a top 10 guy in Derek Brunson. A lot of unknowns about Kevin Holland going in. I mean, we've seen the fun, the antics. We've seen a couple nice knockouts along the way. However, he's stepping in against a guy, Derek Brunson, who's fought the elites of the elites, beaten some elite, lost to some elite, but he's always been around the top 5. And, Derek Brunson put a wrestling clinic on him. We saw a lot about Kevin Holland's grappling. Ended up getting dominated 49-45 across all the judges' scorecards. Angel, you picked Kevin Holland. I mean, what were your thoughts, man, just watching that go down on Saturday?
I've never been so disappointed in someone. Never been so disappointed in someone. I've never seen someone not care in such an important moment in their career or an important moment in their life. Actually, not even in their life, in anything, like Kevin Holland did that night.
Mm-hmm.
I had hopes, right? I'm like, you never know, anything can happen, right? We saw it earlier tonight with what was it, Grant Dawson, right, against Leonardo Santos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It obviously we ended up finding out that he was up on the cards, but in the moment it kind of seemed, he didn't want to leave it up to the judges, right? It was a little too close, and gave the 41-year-old a last second finish. And Kevin kind of didn't care. I never talked the entire time, which obviously is his thing, but. He's talked and performed, but this time it wasn't the case, man. He kept getting taken down, controlled. Even a submission attempt at one point that I actually kind of thought he did really well in that situation. I saw that he didn't freak out or anything. He calmed down. I saw him breathing slowly, and he managed to get out of it, and that actually kind of impressed me a fair bit. But it was just disappointing to see someone not care. It just seemed like he didn't care. It seemed like he was having fun and everything, but he even took the moral victory with the Derek Brunson takedown, but it was just disappointing all around. The fact that he was almost satisfied with just the outcome, and there was no urgency even at the last seconds when he managed to get up and not even go for a crazy strike and maybe get a finish, because he hurt Derek at one point in that fight. Mm-hmm. And he had him backing up and potentially on the verge of a finish. But Derek ended up kind of, getting a little bit recovered and managed to get a takedown, I believe. He had him in that leg raised position. I don't know what you want to call it, peacocking. I don't know. But
we'll go with that.
Yeah, it ended up being just a disappointing outcome for him. I knew Derek was well capable of coming out and doing it, but at the same time, you saw that Kevin Holland was fully capable of winning that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's one of those fights where, I mean, I picked against Kevin Holland. I never really thought his grappling was just going to be as big of a deal. I did not think it was going to work out that well. Obviously, he is a black belt under Travis Lutter, but it's kind of like he's openly said that he's not a big fan of wrestling practice. You know what I mean? And those things kind of showed on Saturday night. You said you're disappointed. Dana White said he had a mental breakdown in the fight and that he kind of just freaked out and the pressure of the moment got to him. I don't think that's it, man. However, I do think that we saw the full limitations of his game, not in terms of that he can't be a champion, he can't do this or he can't do that. He'll just need some more favorable matchups to go ahead and get to that point. He's not bad by any. He's a top 10 guy for sure. I think anybody saying otherwise and overreacting is just being negligent in terms of their analysis of the fight. Because he wasn't like he was getting dominated. I guess he did get dominated in terms of the grappling, but he hung in there. He had his moments. And he's obviously beaten guys like Jock Ray, Joaquin Buckley, Joe Mearshart, so on and so forth. Dudes around the top 15 range. So we'll see what happens moving on, man. But as far as the rest of the card, we got slim pickings, my guy. What else did you want to go ahead and talk about?
I mean, I brought it up in the main event, man. We got to talk about our Grant Dawson from the comeback. What seemed like a come behind win, even though when he was actually up on the cards. I mean, everybody kept referencing that fight back to the Kevin Holland fight. That's what Kevin Holland should have done. He should have kept going for it, kept fighting for it, because it seemed and Grant Dawson's corner, I think, told him, hey, you need to go for a fucking finish because you might be down.
Mm-hmm.
And he went out and did that. And credit to Luriel Santos, dude, at 41 years of age, I believe 40. I know he's at least 40, but I think it's 41 years of age. What a performance, man. He would have been on, 8-fight win streak at that point? 7 fights? Something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something crazy.
Dude, what was the UFC going to do with this man at that point? Like, goddamn, put him in there with Conor, I don't even know what they were going to. That would have been definitely very interesting for his career. But sadly, he didn't end up getting the result he wanted. But Grant Dawson, at least some Glory's very own Grant Dawson gets a victory for Glory this week, and sadly didn't get that a few weeks back, but now they got it with Grant Dawson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. As a fan of my boy Leonardo Santos, pretty depressing. I mean, I've always been hype on him just because he has a lot of wins like under his belt that not really talked about a whole lot. Very quiet dude. He is older though. So nice win by Grant Dawson. That's like the rest of the card, man. I mean, Max Griffin got a good win. Can we talk about Montserrat Ruiz and Cheyenne Buys for a minute? The most controversy I've ever seen about a really boring fight.
I'll follow you home, bitch.
Which, by the way, so if you guys don't watch the fight, basically Montserrat Ruiz dominated her with her grappling. Cheyenne Buys had no answer for the head and arm takedown, literally nothing. Which, it is what it is. And basically Montserrat Ruiz dominated her. Cheyenne Buys. I don't remember what they started talking in the final seconds. It seemed like Montserrat Ruiz, she seemed like I called her a puta, which, it is what it is. She called her that at the end of the fight, and I guess some spit came out. Cheyenne Bai said she spit on me, and she started freaking out. She said, I'm going to, quote, follow you home, bitch. Which
one
is
of the
where
greatest
all the
post-fight.
Yeah, post-fight. Which, by the way, after getting your ass beat for 15 minutes, that's a really... really crazy thing to say to me personally, but whatever.
Man,
my girl Montserrat Ruiz, though, she's getting the dub, man. I think she has a lot of potential. She's still very, very raw in her game, but I've seen her fight a couple times, man. She has potential. But we'll see what happens there. As far as the rest of the card, man, I mean, what else you want to talk about?
Dude, the boy Tai Tuivasa, man. I gotta give credit to Harry Hunsucker. Dude,
Yeah.
He came out and hit one of the fastest combinations I've seen out of a heavyweight in the UFC on Tai. And Tai was like, you know something? Fuck that. I'm responding to this. And Tai came right back at him, bro. Major respect to Tai getting the win there, dude. But, man, I got to give credit to Harry. That was a fast-ass combination. It was like a I don't know. It might have been 3 punches. I might have missed a punch in there because it was so quick. It was impressive, but Tai brought it right back at him.
Yeah, he's like, man, this really sucks, and then you just went ahead and went right at him. So yeah, man, shout out Tai Tuivasa, shout out Adrian Yanez getting a nice win. Trevin Giles picking up a win. Macy Chiasson picking up a win against Marion Renault, who Marion Renault already has another fight booked.
Crazily enough.
July. She's taking on Miesha Tate, dude. She's back. I know this is not a part of the docket as far as things to talk about. What do you think about Miesha Tate coming back, man?
Dude, this is so weird. I could have seen a more likely Ronda return than a Miesha return, if that makes any sense. I don't know why, but I could have seen that happening more than a Miesha return. I thought Miesha was done, dude, because she was doing her thing with ONE FC. Obviously, she's not fighting for ONE FC. She works for ONE FC. Is she still with ONE FC, by the way?
Earlier today, she said she put in her 30 days.
Okay, so never mind. That work relationship just ended, but she was part of that.
Yeah, man. So I was not that surprised. I mean, I've been hearing rumblings as far as that goes, just because she's been talking about it more and more about how she's kind of getting in shape, and I heard that she was actually training again. So I wasn't sure entirely. However, I'm a bit surprised at how fast this came together. Fighting in July, man, that's a quick turnaround. She said she wants to fight Nunes down the road. We'll see what happens, man. Because she's a crazy part, right? I don't like her chances against Nunes, especially 5 years out of the game. She's still only in her early 30s, surprisingly. She was 29 when she retired. See, I like her chances against pretty much everybody else in the division now. Like, I would pick Miesha Tate today against most of the top 10.
You think she's coming back though to like actually try to get ranked fights, get herself in
that's
there?
what she said. She said
And
she's
then
trying.
the women have good longevity, dude.
Huh?
The women have good longevity.
They do.
Like as far as lasting in the sport.
And Marion Renault's 45, so.
And then Roxy too. She's
Roxy,
a little older.
Friend of the podcast, you know.
Yeah, friend of the podcast. So I mean, they're able to avoid damage better than the men.
Yeah, I'll say that. It just, I'm sure the science behind that with CTE and the women don't hit as hard. I'm not saying that to be like sexist. It's just genetics.
God, Josh, you sexist.
I know bone density. It actually does matter in combat sports. So, anyways, yeah, man, I'm excited to see Misha back, man. I saw some people like, this is a terrible idea. I'm like, man, she took 5 years off. If she's in shape, women, the 135 is outside of 125 women the worst division out in the UFC. I mean, I guess you can argue 145, but that's not really a division, that just exists for Nunes to have another belt. So if we're talking actual divisions, it's the second worst. And it was like, I'd literally pick her against the majority of the top 10. So I'm happy to see Misha back, man. Big fan of Misha.
Okay, so before we move on from that, I have one question. Where do you rank her right now in the top 15?
Damn, let me check out the rankings real quick. Because I will say this, I think off the top of my head, I would pick her against everybody but GDR and Home. But I also have to look like where those two are ranked before I give you an answer. So let me.
Home is 2, GDR's 1, just to give you an idea.
I'd put her at number 3.
Number 3, so ahead of Aspen Ladd and Irene Aldana.
Yes, I think that after watching what Home did to Aldana, I don't think it would bode well. And Aspen Ladd is still very raw.
Yes,
so
I agree with that. Very young too. What, 23? Very young.
Yeah, something like that. Very, very young.
Yeah. So
she'll have a great career, but she's still very, very young. She's still very, very raw on the feet too, and I think Misha has a good chance of out grappling her, but that's neither here nor there.
She's 25. I was close.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Moving on to the fight card this week, it's the big boys, man. I've been psyched for this one. You and I have been talking. We end the show, and then you and I will talk about fights, and I swear this is the one we talk about every single time for the last I'd say 6 months. Because that's
come
about
up at some point.
It takes for Stipe to recover between fights. So UFC 260, Miocic and Ngannou, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Stipe Miocic, current champ, just won the belt from DC 2 years ago, defended it last year against DC once again. Had an amazing trilogy taking on Ngannou. These two fought once before 3 years ago, back in February of 2018. And Ngannou lost that fight. Terrible performance. Since then, though, he's improved a lot. He's found a consistent camp. He's won 4 fights in a row via knockout, all in the first round, a combined 2 minutes and 42 seconds in the octagon since that fight with since that fight with Derek Lewis, I should say, which was a loss, I should say, also. So, man, you and I have gone back and forth. I think it's an amazing fight. Really happy to see it. Who do you think leads as the baddest man on the planet on Saturday night?
Dude, the baddest man on the planet. It's going to be Cameroon's very own Francis Ngannou, the Predator, Josh. That's who I'm picking. Via finish, I'm calling it right now. Stipe's getting ended. The end of an era. Bounce him out the building, man. I got full faith in this man. Changed camp. No longer training in France. Now with Extreme Couture. He said he's been working on his wrestling, man. Look, I get it, right? Stipe, goated, But, man, Stipe's 38 years old. He's taken some good damage throughout his career, bro. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Sometimes I have a hard time understanding Stipe, and Stipe speaks English.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be offensive. I think I understand some of the international fighters who have a stronger accent more easily than Stipe.
Yeah, I don't think you're being disrespectful. I think that's straight up. I think he does have that kind of issue. But that's neither here nor there, man. We got this big fight coming up, and I'm just gonna be straight up, man. I think it's gonna be a bad night for Stipe. I think there's only so many wars you can go through to where your chin just starts to age out, and Stipe's nearly 40. He's been through a lot of wars, man, and it doesn't help that Ngannou's only gotten better. And people can say, and I see people point to the actually Jairzinho fight to say that he's not gotten better, but that was Ngannou that was been waiting for fights, which went, fuck it. I can just knock out this dude. Doesn't matter what he does. So that's exactly what he did. But if you watch those JDS fights, if you watch the Kane fight, you saw a dude in Blade's fight as well, he's more hesitant. He's not just going out there firing off. I don't think he's going to do that against Stipe. And I think he's slimmed down since that first fight. He weighed 263 for both times, but he had to cut down to make 263 the first time around. He was walking around like 280, based off what I've heard. So yeah, man, he's slimmed down. He's become faster. He's improved a lot in his technique. I think he's going to finish him inside the first round. I think it's going to be quick night for. It also doesn't help that it's a smaller cage. A lot of Stipe's, the way he won the first fight was kind of do the rope-a-dope in the first round. That's a lot easier to do with a lot larger of an octagon. Very small cage this time around. I'm going to go Ngannou and New. And I think we're going to have a new champ on Saturday night, man. Baddest man on the planet, Cameroon's own Francis Ngannou. Awesome. Now, man, I'll ask you a quick follow-up question. We're both thinking Ngannou. What do you think happens next? Somebody actually asked this question to Dana in the presser. Do you think it's going to be a Stipe trilogy or a Jones fight for Ngannou next?
They want to move on from Stipe, dude. The smartest choice the UFC could make, and it's no disrespect to Stipe, is moving on from Stipe and going on to Jones. That's how you make Ngannou a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to do. You got him the Jones fight, and if he gets through Jones, man, it's just like at that point. I mean, dude, this man has an amazing story. Immigrated from his country. Just that his journey, man, on Joe Rogan. If you ever hear it, Josh, it's one of the most amazing things. And he's someone who's extremely likable, is very relatable to a lot of people. And a lot of migrant people are gonna like him, dude. A lot of people who aren't necessarily, also from Africa or Cameroon are gonna love this man because they know his story, they know his struggle, they know his build up, and obviously that's next for him, man. Superstardom. I mean, you saw it. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, Josh, but they said there's never been a Mike Tyson-esque type guy in the UFC, right?
That's Ngannou.
And that's gonna be Ngannou, and it's gonna be Ngannou, and I mean the guy is a great guy too, dude. I mean he's easy to promote. Easy to and just out what he does outside the octagon too, dude. He has a foundation. I mean, and also Stipe is a good guy. I'm not gonna take anything from Stipe. Stipe does a lot for his community too. He's also, obviously everybody knows he's a firefighter. But yeah, man, the next step here is just dominating the division and getting through Jones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I also think that's the fight to make next if they want to make him a star. I think they probably should move in a different direction. I like Stipe a lot as a person, but as a champion and as a fighter, he's very kind of inconsistent. Not inconsistent. That's not the right terminology I want to use. I don't want to phrase it as like he's not a good fighter, but like he's very relaxed in how he returns to the octagon and takes long layoffs and so on and so forth. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens from moving on from here. I will say this though. If Ngannou wins at UFC 260, he's going to reign for a long time, man. I truly believe that. I think imagine with Jones, because here's the thing, Stipe is his worst challenge by far.
Out of everybody, yes, in the UFC right now.
Not even close. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, Jones has the style, but he won't. Your first fight moving up to 265, you don't want that to be Franny, man. You don't want to be facing Francis Ngannou in your first fight up to 265. You don't know how the weight's going to translate. You don't know how that's all going to move over. I would not do it to Faber Jones, but better man than I. So moving on to the co-main, man. This was not meant to be the co-main. In fact, this card has been shattered over the last few days.
It's still good, though.
Yeah, it's kind of a 3-fight card, but we'll go and get into that. 3 or 4-fight card, I'd say. But co-main event, Tyron Woodley, Vicente Luque. Woodley, we've been saying it for the last God knows how long. He just needs to pull the trigger. And he's been facing a lot of these pressure guys, Burns, Colby, Usman, guys that just bring the pressure, keep on go, never give you a chance to breathe. Which if you're going to beat Tyron Woodley, even in his prime, that's the type of guy you're going to need. It's the guy that you're going to need to put in front of him, right? Luque is not that guy. He's a guy that's going to pressure, but he's going to let you have the chance to throw back. He's very hittable, a lot of power in his hands, but he gets cracked a lot.
But if there's
a fight he's on the bottom end of the top 15. If there's a fight for Woodley to come out for, it's this one, man. In terms of winnability, I should say. If there was a fight for him to show up for, it would have been all the other ones too. But in terms of like more amicable competition, I should say. So what do you think about this fight, man? Who do you got in the co-main?
Well, Josh, this is your dark horse, man, at welterweight, dude. I mean, this guy is Josh. You know how many losses this man has? 7 losses. You know how many he has in the UFC? Just off the top of your head.
How many he has in the UFC?
Yeah, just in the
losses?
UFC.
3.
Josh, you're wrong. He only has 1 loss in the UFC. If we're excluding the Ultimate Fighter.
There's no way that's correct.
That is correct, Josh.
He lost to Leon Edwards too.
Yeah, he lost to Leon Edwards and Wonder Boy, and then he had the Ultimate Fighter.
And Michael Graves, which is technically in the UFC.
It's technically UFC, but I still consider it the Ultimate Fighter. It's 3, but I consider it the Ultimate Fighter. I still consider it tough, Josh.
You're using technicalities with me. Don't do that.
I'm using technicality, but still, Josh, it's still.
Fuck you, it's 3.
Either way, though,
give me my credit, goddamn it.
It's 2, realistically. Let's be real, Josh. It's
right,
still
fine.
tough. It's still part of tough. It's still part of the tough competition.
We'll call it the 2.
We'll call it the 2, right? And even then, though, Josh, it's Leon Edwards and Wonder Boy, right? Mike Graves. Where's Mike Graves now, Josh? No hate. I think he's fighting like out of Titan FC or something like that. Shout out to Titan FC.
Shout out Michael Graves, man.
But yeah, the thing is, dude, this guy's the dark horse, right? And dude, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I heard someone say Vicente Luque is the Ryan Hall of the welterweight division, the boogeyman. No one wants to fight him. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I'd completely agree with that, man. The only dude to actually step up to the... There's a reason why he's still fighting guys like... No disrespect, love Randy Brown, but he's fighting guys like Randy Brown, man. Like, guys that aren't even close to the top 15 because nobody wants to fight him. He's a very, very low risk... he's a very high risk, low reward fight. You gain nothing for beating Luque, but you lose everything.
Yes. And sadly, because of some of the losses he has had in the UFC, they obviously, Leon, what is it, ranked 2, right? What? Yeah, 3? I don't even know at this point.
Something like that.
And Wonder Boy also ranked high. If not, he'd be like right there, right?
Yeah.
As far as the matchup, man, I mean, Willie has a tough opponent, dude, in front of him. You laid it out. Obviously, look at great pressure, right? Obviously, was there for the. I think he was there for the Burns fight for part of Gilbert's camp when that fight happened. And I mean, we kind of, dude, the formula's kind of been laid out for beating Woodley, dude. The thing is Woodley gonna come out and let loose a little bit, let the cannons loose, and maybe use some of that wrestling. What's the last time you saw Woodley take someone down? It's more like Woodley's gone and taken down. He took down Kobe, but outside of that, though, what else has happened since then?
Yeah, pretty much nothing.
Yeah. What happened to that wrestler, right? We want to see that wrestler. We want to see that guy who can crack. And he said the being cut from the UFC is not like a big worry to him right now. He doesn't. I don't know if he thinks it's gonna happen, or maybe he does know, but he just doesn't want to say it. But man, dude, if he loses to Vicente Luque here, Tyron Woodley might not be in the UFC after this fight.
Yeah, and that's something he's talked about in terms of his kind of preparation, because he knows that this could be the last one, which has got to really be weighing on him a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. A lot of pressure here for him. A must win for him. I think it's a tough one for him though. But I am picking the dark horse and the silent assassin on that night though, Josh. I'm hitting you with it right now, clean. Yeah,
man. I'm gonna go same here, and I actually think it's gonna be a finish. I think he's gonna go ahead and knock out Woodley. Not knockout, TKO, just because listen, Usman
retire, man.
No, he's hit hard. Colby. He doesn't hit that hard, but he's a technique guy. He technically did finish him, but via injury, Vicente Luque fucking cracks dudes. He hits really, really hard. I think Luque is going to land a couple of bombs near the fence, and that's going to be it. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens moving forward, but I am really psyched for it. But up next, bro, your boy. He's back. Sean O'Malley, the hype train, looking to get back on the tracks, man. I mean, he did lose via injury last time out. He's now 12-1. In his eyes, he's 13-0, but that don't matter, all right? Taking on Thomas Almeida, who, in his own prime, did have a Sean O'Malley-esque hype train, man. Maybe not the size, but, dude, UFC 189, him knocking out Brad Pickett, I'll never forget, dude. This is going on Reddit and seeing all the hype for that kid. And obviously, he ended up being 21-0. Lost to Cody Garbrandt, no shame in that. Beat Albert Morales via TKO. Since then, man, been a very, very rough streak. Lost to Jimmy Rivera. That was a pretty good fight, though. Very much a war. Rob Font knocked him out. And then Jonathan Martinez getting a nice decision win over him last year in October. O'Malley looking to return, man. Obviously, one of the most hyped guys in the UFC. Looking to get back on track. Do you think he does it?
Dude, like you said, you laid it out right. A guy with a lot of hype. Obviously the Brad Pickett one, big win, right? But sadly, I think this is a guy who wore out his chin a lot before he came into the UFC, Josh.
Mm.
I think he wore it out a lot before he came into the UFC. And granted, though, the losses he's had are not, terrible. I mean, Cody Garbrandt, Jimmy Rivera, Rob Font. I mean, look, Rob Font just got a fight announced against Cody Garbrandt. And Jimmy Rivera, we saw him fight not too long ago, and I mean the guy's a talented dude, tough guy. I feel like they kind of laid this out for Sean to set him up for success because they know about, they realized that with Almeida. And obviously the guy's 29 years old, right? If he comes out here, gets a big victory over Sean, I mean, we're back on track, dude, right? Like nothing was missed. But the thing is, I do think this guy wore out his shit in the amateurs and now has to kind of deal with that stuff now. Now he's susceptible, he can get hit, he can get cracked.
Yeah, man, and I think he also wore out his chin a lot. I think even though you're a young fighter, it's not about your age, it's about the wars you've been in. And Almeida's been in a lot of wars, man. I mean, it's been rough. It's been rough out there, man. And I think this is almost a fight that's kind of I don't want to say a layup, but very much a fight where they're looking at it like, oh yeah, this is O'Malley to get him back on track, get him on the hype train. Get a nice knockout. I'm gonna go ahead and go that way, man. I'm also gonna go ahead and take the knockout for O'Malley. We'll see what happens though. I think that has a lot of potential. If Thomas Almeida's chin holds up, it looked better his last fight. It could be a banger though. We'll see what happens. But moving on down, man. Last two fights, not as much of interest. Like I said, it's a 3-fight card, but I am very excited for this next fight. Jillian Robertson taking on Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick, if you were to go ahead and ask me who is one fighter outside of it, I'll restrict this to women because men, it's almost a cheat. You can pick so many different people, but I'll go ahead and restrict it to women. If you were to ask me who's somebody unranked now that has the best chance of fighting for a title by the end of the year or within the next year or so of becoming a champion, I pick Miranda Maverick. She's 23, she's 8-2, and dominant TKO win in her first fight in the UFC. Last October, wins over Pearl Gonzalez, Deanna Bennett, Victoria Leonardo, and she's been around the way, man. She's getting better and better each and every single fight, and she's taking on Jillian Robertson, who we've seen her around. She's ranked 15. Obviously she's a lot of nice wins to her resume. So man, what do you think about this fight?
I like it, man. Obviously, both young, both bright career, and I mean, obviously, Josh, you've been hyping up Miranda Maverick for me for a while, dude.
Long time, yeah.
Long time. So I gotta stick with Maverick too, dude.
Yeah, Miranda Maverick. Go ahead and take her as well. To my knowledge, the only UFC fighter with a chocolate milk sponsorship. So shout out Miranda Maverick.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, right? I want to get her on the pod. I think that'd be fun interview. But because she's also like she's one of those fighters that's like so young that like they're still in college, so it's like something to relate to. She's currently like a PhD student at Old Dominion. So fun fact for the day. But opening up the card, man, this one should be a banger. Jamie Malarkey, Kama Worthy. Kama Worthy obviously came into the UFC with little to no hype. A lot of these dudes to come in off the back of a lot of amateur wins, a lot of professional wins, a lot of hype coming out of LFA, coming out of Bellator, coming out of Invicta. Kama Worthy was not that dude. He came in with a record of 14-6. Was meant to be. He was a short notice guy for Devontae Smith, who is a huge prospect. Knocked him out. Comes in, finishes Luis Pena, another highly rated prospect. Ends up losing to Ottoman Azatar. It happens. Fights happen. Ottoman, obviously a very hyped up guy in his own right. Guy with a record of 13-0. So what do you think of this opening up the main card, and who do you think's gonna pull out the win, my guy?
Oh man. Dude, I gotta go with the boy Kama Worthy, aka Death Star. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go Kama Worthy as well. But I think it should be a fun fight. I'm gonna go ahead and
go banger,
Kama Worthy
low-key.
Finish. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a banger.
So, yeah, man. As far as the rest of the card, like I said, slim pickings of what you got on the undercard.
Dude, Alonzo Menifield, Fabio Charant, dude, that's my one. I know it got kind of pieced together last second because who ended up falling out of the Alonzo Menifield card?
William Knight.
Yeah, William Knight, which I thought that was going to be a banger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that. Excited for the Fabio Charant and that coming in last minute. I think he'll put up a good performance.
Yeah, man. I'm going to go ahead and I think that's going to be a very, very fun fight. I'm really excited for that one. Alonzo Menifield, since he came to the UFC, all bangers. So shout out Alonzo Menifield. We'll see what happens. But, man, we got some other fights on the other card. Jared Gooden taking him on Akbar Nurmagomedov, I believe the cousin of Habib. I don't know if it's cousin or brother, but I know he's officially related to him. Yeah, I mean, we got other fights, Shane Young, Omar Morales, which should be fun. Outside of that, man, not a whole lot. It's a small fight card also, because a couple of fights have fallen out this week, so
sadly,
there's not matters. Yeah, man. So as far as that goes, it's been a while since I've given one of these out. All right. Amazing sponsor of the podcast, Monkey Knife Fight. All right. Amazing sponsor as always. I started doing these things weekly where I'd go ahead and give predictions for Monkey Knife Fight, man. And Angel, I think it's time for the return. Now, I hope you guys went ahead and took advantage of those last few picks I gave. Because I'm batting almost 1,000. I got one wrong. It happens, you know. Look, man. Taking Francis Ngannou, taking the under, is about as easy of a bet you could possibly do. We've been very notable on picking Ngannou. So even let's go and put it like this. Even if, because the exact number for like more or less, not over or under, but it's 19.5 significant strikes for Ngannou. 19.5. Angel, you think he hits that?
Dude, I don't know what this man's gonna do, dude, because he could just rock him with like 3.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm gonna go ahead and, ladies and gentlemen, hammer it down. Take the less. Francis Ngannou, 19.5 significant strikes. Stipe Miocic, 39.5. Hammer the under as well. So that's your bet for the week. You know, go ahead and take it. Lock it up, boys. Lock it up. So yeah, man, that's our Monkey Knife Fight pick of the week. And if you guys will also want to go ahead and play along at an amazing sponsor of ours, just go ahead and use the code Courtside. They'll go ahead and match whatever you put down up to $100. You guys can go ahead and play along with us. Moving on, man. Angel, something went down today, man. Have you heard about this? There was some sort of a press conference that went down. Have you heard anything?
I might have. I think I might have.
You might have heard something?
Might have been there too.
You might have been there. Well, so if you guys don't know, now you know. Jake Paul, Ben Askren, first press conference went down earlier today, and it was interesting to say the least. Obviously, we went ahead and had Jake and Ben face to face for the first time. We were both there. We were both on hand. Apparently, I was representing Cage Side Press, which I did not know. And Angel Ortega was representing Courtside Soundoff, as always, the GOAT. By the way, shout out to the dude who read your name. Fucking killed it.
Yeah, dude, he really did, honestly.
Shout out that dude. We got to get that. Got to get that dude on the podcast.
That guy should have been the translator for Raycon.
For real, dude. Yeah, he killed it. Anyway, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of highlights for the actual. Go ahead and put a little bit of highlights for the actual press conference itself. Me and Angel both got one question each. I got to ask Frank Mir a question. He got to ask the one and only friend of the podcast, Jake Paul, a question. We think it went pretty well, but if you guys want to go ahead and listen to the highlight, here you go.
Our first question is from Cage Side Press, Josh Evanoff.
Yeah, I got a quick question for Frank. Frank, obviously you've been fighting in MMA for 20 plus years. You've been a former world champion. You've been pretty much everywhere the MMA world has been. You've been fighting Bellator, UFC. How has it been making that transition just in terms of preparation to fighting, now making your pro boxing debut and against a guy in Steve Cunningham on short notice?
The best part was that actually, because I was preparing for a bare knuckle fight, that gave me a lot of sparring in that realm, which helped me segue into this. On the outside, things are extremely similar between boxing and MMA, a little bit different of stance and whatnot because of angle. We don't have to protect our lead leg as much. But the clinch is a little bit different. And honestly, that's been the hardest part for me. There's a lot of things that I keep on accidentally doing, and I've almost eliminated it completely. But holding the back of someone's head and driving an uppercut is very legal in MMA, and it was legal in bare knuckle. And now I get my dad at the side of the ring is screaming at me, "Stop punching with the clinch!" So I'm working on it. So there are some aspects of it that are just instinct in me. When I put wrestling shoes on or boxing shoes, I tend not to kick or knee. That's easy because I've sparred so many rounds boxing in preparation for MMA. I've never made that mistake. But again, the clinch is probably the hardest part because there's so many similarities between bare knuckle boxing and MMA, and that's what I was training for. But now the pure boxing rules and the clinch, it changes things.
All right. What else we got? Super snooper duper special. Okay. So without further ado, I'd like to, pop out a little special seasoning salt to this event. Where's my special guest? I smell something golden.
Oh, I know this guy.
You smell it?
I have met this gentleman.
You know this man? That's my special guest right here. The big O.
The great Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar, how are you?
Golden boy. You hear me? What's up, Oscar? How you doing, loved one?
I'm good, my man. How you doing?
I'm good. What you in town for?
I'm I heard something was going down here, so
Yeah, I heard something was going down too. I mean, you got great fighters. I've been watching you walk in the ring with your fighters. Your boy Ortiz had a great fight the other night.
last fight, Virgil Ortiz.
That was an amazing fight. But I feel like it's something missing, man. I keep seeing you in the ring, but I don't see you in the ring. I mean, talk to me.
Why don't you you're part owner of a Triller Fight Club. Why don't you
No,
tell me?
I think you should tell him, man. It's you, not me.
Okay. July 3rd, I'm making my comeback.
Ooh.
Oh boy. You heard it here first, and he dropped the microphone. Only West Coast Kings can do that. You understand me? So with that being said, on the 3rd, he's back in the ring. And now
Just to make sure everyone understood, Oscar said on July 3rd, he is making his comeback before that mic drop.
so that means he's getting back in the ring, putting on some boxing gloves and da 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 da.
You see, now you look at, you're a newsmaker as well. I can add that. I gave you that whole long list of accolades. Now I'm going to tell you you're a newsmaker as well. Look at that.
That's the #1 pay-per-view fighter of all time. I'm talking about the #1 pound for pound is back, baby, and he's getting it in with us on Fight Club on the 3rd. It's gonna be off the hizzle for shizzle, baby.
That gives us something exciting to look forward to, doesn't it?
In a real way. You understand me?
That's
So
beautiful.
without further ado, let's get back into the show, Al. What were we before we were interrupted with that great news?
All right.
From the Courtside Soundoff podcast, I have Angel Ortega.
Yes, I have one question for Jake, and I want to ask Jake. You started with Deji, and now you're with Ben, and you also had Nate. I want to ask you, are you at this point bigger than the JJ fight? Is there any interest in still fighting KSI, or have you outgrown him and you're just over that?
Yeah, definitely outgrown him. There's interest. I think that's a fight that everyone wants to see, but at this point, it just wouldn't even be close. And I think, once he sees what I do to Ben, yeah, he's not gonna want to fight. And yeah, like even his coaches say it. They're like, "Hey, we're not letting KSI fight this kid right now." So his coaches know. His coaches know what will happen. KSI's ducking, and at the end of the day, it's like there's a lot bigger fights out there than JJ. So.
All right, next.
And next we have from MMA Island, Donna Corby.
Hey guys, this question is for Jake, and I guess it applies a bit to Ben as well. Jake, when you look at your 3 fights, you were very fortunate when you fought Deji and when you fought Nate that the main event guys were willing to carry the slack with you, because your opponents really weren't in terms of the promotion of the fight. They were very quiet. They weren't, Deji doesn't really have much of a mainstream appeal. Nate obviously opted to just be quiet and try to portray himself as an athlete. We'll give Gib the credit. He really did push that fight. Do you appreciate that Ben is willing to do the work to promote the fight, unlike maybe probably any of your opponents before? And Ben, are you enjoying that aspect of it?
I do actually appreciate it. A part of me likes Ben. A part of me, thinks he's funny. I'll give him that. And even his wife, like I was seeing her post stuff on Instagram, like she's funny. So I give him credit. And yeah, I think this fight has the most amount of hype going into it. He actually is putting out content and making some noise and talking some shit. So yeah, I do give credit to Ben there, and that's part of the reason we picked him is we knew there was gonna be shit talk going into it.
One of the things I appreciated about him earlier, I said it, is that and his brother too. Like they have somehow convinced their fans that they're real fighters. It's tremendous. It's it takes an act, it takes a show. He's done that. He says, pulling the fire truck, me and rice and chicken and shit like that. Like I'm in this for life. That's tremendous. Appreciate that, Jake.
Suck a dick.
One more. We have one more virtual question, and that's going to wrap things up for us. So go ahead.
From Full Reptile YouTube, James Mystery.
Hey guys, I got a question for each athlete. Jake, what do you have to say to all the professional fighters out there that don't like your quick success in combat sports without any substantial previous experience?
Haters will be haters. You know, when there's a new young buck in the game coming up in ruffling feathers, they're going to be upset. But again, I'm just trying to bring more eyeballs to the sport, and I'm having fun doing it. And I'm just doing me. You know, there's room for everyone to eat. Gary Vee once said, you know, you can build your skyscraper in New York as high as you want without tumbling over someone else's skyscraper. So why are people mad that I'm successful? You know, build up your own skyscraper, and there's room for everyone to eat in this sport. Trust me.
Fair enough. Ben, I saw on your Instagram the little scuffle between you and Jake before the press conference. I was wondering if you can fill me in on that. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how intimidated were you when Jake came in and flicked that tissue over your shoulder?
I think it was a mask, not a tissue, but yeah, I would say, you know, like a 1 to 1.1, somewhere in there. You know, again, if Jake and I met in an alley, I would just do a homicide if I wanted to. No big deal. I was most impressed by the fact that Jake, as a 24-year-old, is able to convince a whole team of grown men to do a cheer with him. That was tremendous.
It's called a team, a family, something that you don't have. Seems like you don't have really friends, and you know, we're all in this together, and this means a lot to us. You know, this means a lot to everyone. This is a part of history. That everyone on my team is a part of history, and we're a brotherhood, and quite literally a bunch of 20-year-olds taking over the world. Sounds stupid.
Yeah, I hope you do some more cheers on the way there.
Well, we know it's going to be serious on April 17th.
Joe, Bayside.
We appreciate both of you being
2,
here.
4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Ben. God damn.
There you go. Thank you both for being here. We're looking forward to April 17th. Should be a lot of fun.
Thank you, Al.
All right, you take care. Ben, Jake, we'll see you guys on April 17th. How many days? 22. Now. 22. 22 till I end this motherfucker's career. As they exit.
And so yeah, that was the press conference for Jake Paul and Ben Askren. Obviously, we can't do the whole thing legally. I don't think we're allowed to post the whole thing.
Sadly.
However, I will have highlights up on the YouTube channel. And then yeah, as well as that, man. I mean, what were your thoughts on the press conference as a whole, and just kind of the experience?
You know, I'm not saying that the last press conference was bad by any means, but this one was a lot even. Like, I feel like Triller's almost upped it up, dude. They stepped it up this time. I thought it was even better.
I thought this press conference was you know, you're not going to go ahead and say it. I'll say it, dude. I thought it was a pretty bad press conference last time out. Not because of anything Triller did, but because he got crashed by some 6-year-olds. So.
I mean, you're not wrong, but yes, that's essentially what I meant to say.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, so yeah, that was pretty interesting. I thought this one, the production value was a lot greater. Definitely, I was not expecting us to actually go ahead and get to ask a question. Especially you getting to ask Jake Paul a question. Angel was the last, if you guys did not listen to the clip I just played, he was the last question. Our boy, one and only, Angel Ortega from the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Shout out that translator once again. Overall, pretty fun press conference. Very long, dude. That was the longest.
It was long.
Really, I could tell after Raycon and Joe Fournier, they were like, guys, got to speed this up a little. Come on. Because I think, well, Ivan Redkoch and Regis Prozeas went about 7 minutes. So.
And they got what? 3 questions?
They got 3 questions. And then obviously Frank Mir and Steve Cunningham went a little bit longer, but not that long either. It was really just, I want to say Joe Fournier and Raycon took up the most time, which was crazy.
Which is weird.
Really weird. And by the way, if you guys did not also listen to that clip, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, he's back. So that was interesting as well. So he's going to be fighting July 3rd on a Triller card. Yet to know the opponent. Hopefully we'll be there for that one as well. We've been officially credentialed for these last 2 Triller shows. So we'll see what happens, man. They're looking at doing that one in a big venue. Maybe something like Dallas is what I've heard. AT&T. So we'll see. But, man, more boxing to come this week. In fact, tomorrow, got a huge rematch. Snuck up on both of us. I really did not know it was coming up this quickly. But here we go nonetheless. Alexander Povetkin, Dillian Whyte, both stepping into the ring for the second time, obviously last year. In Eddie Hearn's backyard, Alexander Povetkin pulled off one of the greatest knockouts and one of the upsets of the year. Povetkin stopping Dillian Whyte after coming back from 3 previous knockdowns, knocking Whyte out, devastating knockout, and ended up becoming the WBC, WBA, WBD, I don't give a fuck, WTF, what was the Angel?
The clip's on YouTube.
Winning some sort of championship. But nonetheless, picking up the dub, getting some sort of belt, and we thought that meant he was in line for some sort of like actual title shot against maybe Joshua, something along those lines. Did not come to fruition. Instead, we're getting an immediate rematch, as is the case in a lot of big boxing matches, man. So, I mean, who are you leaning towards in this one? What do you think?
Dude, like you said, a little prior to no one heard it, but we were talking about it a little bit before we started recording. Povetkin has a tough out, man. You know something, man? If it happened once, it can happen again, man. This is heavyweight boxing. We've seen it, dude. Anything can happen. Let's go, Povetkin. Let's go, champ. Let's go, champ.
Yeah, man. I do think he's kind of at a disadvantage, though, just because, if you guys don't know, he had a really serious bout with COVID. That delayed this fight by 2 or 3 months. Supposed to happen back in November, if I remember correctly. And he ended up getting in the hospital and having to stay in the hospital for a couple of weeks due to COVID. Povetkin is on the older side at over the age of 40. However, that don't matter. Let's go, champ. Povetkin, and still, he's making the comeback. He's going to end up beating Joshua Fury Wilder. It don't matter. Old man Povetkin revenge tour. It's coming, boys. I would love to see it happen. I've always been a massive fan of Alexander Povetkin. He's just that guy where it's like, he's not, you can tell he's not the most technically skilled. He doesn't have the most power in his hands. But that old man's got that fucking fighting spirit, bro. Like, he does not matter how many times you knock him down. I think Klitschko knocked him down an insane amount of times as well, before ended up getting the finish as well. So he ended up getting knocked down 3 times by Whyte, get the knockout. So, look, man, we'll see what happens. Going to be a very, very fun Saturday nights, with obviously Povetkin and Whyte 2 going on, UFC 260. Angel, is there anything else you want to talk about, man, before we go ahead and close out?
No, man, I'm just excited, dude. We're gonna find out who the baddest man on the planet is this weekend. We had a lot of fun with you can say that, right? And we had the press coming up, and dude, we have some good boxing coming up. We have a lot of exciting things coming in this next month, dude. And let's just keep sending it.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we might have some more fun stuff in the works in terms of press stuff. I don't want to, obviously, nothing's official. It's just sort of stuff that we talked about off air, but we're looking at doing some fun stuff over the next few weeks, so we'll go ahead and keep you guys clued in on that one. But, man, it was a lot of fun going to the press conference today. That was a lot of fun. Shout out Triller, man. Triller is the only... Three people have given us credentials: UFC, Triller, and the Big Three. So
hey, man, those two of those are very big.
Yeah, obviously, Jake Paul, Ben Askren is the biggest one. But yeah, man, getting to ask a couple questions, that was pretty fun. But yeah, man, good show this week. A bit of a brief one. I got to bounce it because that presser took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. Amazing sponsors as always: Manscaped, Monkey Knife Fight. Don't think that I forgot about Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy is still the leader in amazing energy drinks, the leader in energy drinks for the common man, not just gamers. It's revolutionizing the genre. Use code SOUNDOFF as always. I bought some earlier this week for myself. It is phenomenal. They got the new shaker bottles. They're killing it, man, over there. They're not just got energy drinks. They got protein. They got everything, man. So shout out Rogue Energy as well. Manscaped as well. Monkey Knife Fight. I'm at Josh Evanoff on Twitter. He's at _01 at Courtside Soundoff for all stuff related to the podcast and more. Thanks, guys, for listening as always. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.